Hello, lovely. Thanks for joining me for this quick little hip stretch, which is just going to leave you feeling incredible. I love to do this at the end of the day, and I have my yoga mat rolled out here for your benefit, but usually I just do this on the living room rug after my little guy's gone to sleep. And I'll say it now, chill out music and candles are a lovely extra if you want to add them in while this video is playing. So about the hips to start with, because we spend a lot of time sitting, our hips get very tight, and also we hold a lot of our emotional tension there in that area of the hips. So not only are we a bit physically locked up there, we can be emotionally stuck too and holding on to anything that's causing us to worry. And it just feels really nice physically to stretch out the hips, but it's also this emotional release of letting go, and it just makes so much space and room, and you feel like just lightened and unburdened after you stretch the hips out. So it sounds so good. So I just want us to get straight into it, and we'll start with a tart. No, we'll start with taking our big toes together at the back of the mat. And we're going to take some nice hip circles. So take the knees out wide, big toes together. And I just want you to start by literally drawing some circles with the hips. And you can close the eyes. And don't worry about how you look or what shape you're making or any alignment cues. So I just want you to make it feel good. Always feels better with the eyes closed. And a little quote I read through the week was, make it feel like art. And doesn't that sound nice? And I think we can apply that to everything we do throughout our day. Make it feel like art. Suddenly elevates all those day-to-day chores, beautifies them. Okay, and then when you're ready, go in the opposite direction. Again, just see if you can, by closing the eyes, you're really allowing yourself to just feel those sensations a little bit more deeply. Just make that your last round. Nice. And then bring the knees in line with the hips. And we're going to take some fire hydrant hip circles, and you'll see why they're called this, or I like to call them this. So with the left knee, let's start with the left knee. We're just going to, again, draw some circles with that left knee. So you're going to take it back and then up and around. And this is good balance, and it's a good core strength exercise too. So we're keeping the belly button drawing up towards the spine, the chest nice and open, at the same time that we're opening out the hips. And we're getting nice mobility and flexibility into the hips by doing these little hip circles. Take a couple more. And see if you can just not add tension anywhere in the body. So not gripping around the neck and shoulders. Just softening and opening up. Staying stable at the same time. So nice and stable, but nice and open. And then when you're ready, I want you to go the opposite direction. So take that knee forward now. And then around and back. It's a great exercise, actually. I'm really feeling this in my core and my hips at the same time. Just take a couple more rounds. Take one more. Great. And we'll just take one round of CatCow in between. So take a big breath in. Open the chest. And a big breath out, rounding through the spine. Nice. Come and find neutral spine. And really simply here, we're just going to step our left foot up to
the top of the mat. Help it up if you need. Give it a little helping hand. And you'll have both hands on the inside of that left foot. And now listen carefully. I just want you to allow the hips to melt forward like a wave. That's it, just rolling forward. And we're going to come into lizard. So we just widen our left foot out a little. And about a 45-degree angle is a nice place to place that foot. And I'm up on my fingertips here. You can use, books or a yoga block or anything to make the ground come up and meet you a little bit more if that's too intense. Cushions. And here we just allow the hips to melt forward and keeping the toes of that left foot flexing back towards you. It's just going to deepen this stretch into this left hip a little bit more. And I like to keep my chest opening here instead of just caving in. I like to just keep the chest open at the same time. And again, I close my eyes and I find that a nice swaying motion of the hips side to side feels really nice. And just find the breath, just tuning back into the breath. And again, just having that full body awareness of just relaxing around the neck and shoulders, not gripping or tensing. And just checking in with the hips to see if you are holding on. See if you can just let go and release. Just letting the muscles open up and lengthen. Just making lots and lots of yummy space around the hips. Beautiful. Take another couple of deep breaths. If there is anything that comes to mind or heart that you want to let go of, invitation to do so now. I always find it's something for me like, losing my temper. It's one of my go-to things on my self-forgiveness list. It's getting better though. Take another couple of breaths. Just feeling that stretch. And if you're okay here, you can always come down to the elbows. It's going to be more intense, a bit more juicy, but feel free if that's for you. Just check in with the lower back, see that that's not going to tweak it or add any pressure there. Just always listening to your body. Sometimes it whispers, other times it screams. So just keep breathing here, keep stretching. If you're swaying with me, it feels so nice. And then gently when you're ready, we're going to release. We're simply going to step that left foot back. Feels a little different side to side, so we've got to even things up. And to start with, we'll take the circles now with the right hip. So let's take that knee back to start with and imagine that you've got a nice chubby crayon attached to your knee. You're just drawing some nice circles. Again, just see if you can keep the core nice and stable. Circling through the hip. You want it, the hip is a ball and socket joint, so imagine that feeling, that sensation of gliding. That joint just gliding. And then when you're ready, you can take it in the opposite direction. Challenge here is to breathe deeply as you're doing this move. It's harder when you're talking at the same time. We sound out of breath. Just take one more. Nice. We'll just take one round of CatCow just to neutralize the lower back. So take a big breath in, open. A long breath out to round. Time to step that right foot up. So hands a little off to the left side of the mat so we can make space. Step that right foot up. And then let the wave roll forward. So the hips just release forward and down. 45-degree angle with the foot, I feel works really well. And then flexing the toes back towards you. And then opening through the chest. Glide the shoulders back and down and just find a place where you can feel that opening into that outer right hip. Nice stretch into the front of the left hip too, of course. And if you're not feeling the stretch, you're welcome to come down onto your elbows, or maybe that's for another day or another lifetime. There's no pressure to go further. So take a moment just to soften the neck and shoulders. Take a little sway if that feels good. And just check to see that you're not gripping, that you're stretching, that you're softening, and that you're opening. And that's how we make space. It's not by forcing and dictating the body to stretch and open up. It's a gentle invitation with softness. Again, I like to sway side to side. If that feels good for you, you can do that too. We're just here for another couple of breaths. And using your exhales just to clean out anything that's making you feel heavy or down or flat. Take another big breath. Exhale everything out. Excellent. And then gently let's move back onto all fours. So gently stepping that right foot back. Beautiful. And now I want you to just make a nice, smooth, graceful transition into easy pose. If you can do that. And I just want you to have your left shin in front to start. And we're going to take a little forward fold here, just with our left shin in front. We're going to open up through this outer left hip. And you'll feel it when we come into it. It's going to feel really nice. So sitting up nice and tall, lifting the heart, rolling the shoulders down. Start to creep the fingertips out in front. And when you feel that you've reached your edge, that place where the stretch is strong, I just want you to soften the upper body down over the legs. And take some nice, full, deep, smooth breaths. And I want you to flex the toes because you're going to feel it more. Feel the stretch deeper if you flex the feet. Flex the toes back towards you. Soften around the neck and shoulders. And just really let this be a moment of letting go. Of softening. Of complete surrender. And use your breath just to work that stress and tension out of the hips. So imagine using your inhale to make space. Filling up. And then with your exhale, just cleaning out. Just take a few rounds of breath. And just maybe have a pillow underneath your head, or maybe you're making a little pillow with your hands for your head. Maybe you're nowhere near that. Maybe you're up on your elbows or your fingertips. It doesn't matter where you are, as long as you're just stretching and being mindful and just having that intention just to create space and softness in the hips. Hips and heart inextricably linked. Let's take one more breath. Nice long exhale, and then gently lift yourself back up. Oh, I can feel it in that side. Feels nice. So let's change legs. So we have our right shin in front. Find your sitting bones. Sit up nice and tall to start with, and then you can creep fingertips forward. feel the edge of the stretch where it feels juicy, and then I want you to soften down there.
And just find a comfortable place for your upper body to rest. Maybe your elbows are on the ground. Maybe you're using pillows, a coffee table, a piece of furniture. And this is what I always want you to do when you're practicing with me, is just make it your own. Don't worry about following the instructions rigidly to the letter. If it doesn't feel right for you, you adjust and you refine and you make it comfortable. Always. So see if you can take some deep breaths here. Keep the feet flexed. Some awareness and aliveness in the feet. I always find that by flexing the toes, it really does intensify the stretch. And just maybe making that intention now, just to let go of any tension you're feeling. Maybe it's physical tension, literally the muscles gripping. Maybe it's emotional tension. Maybe it's hormonal tension. I know what that feels like. And I have to say, at that time of the month, PMS time, stretching out the hips is like evening primrose oil on steroids. So good. So see if you can remember next time you're having, one of those moments when you're maybe a bit teary or maybe a bit angry. So just do some of these hip stretches and see if it feels different. Take the last couple of breaths here. Soft neck and shoulders, not gripping into the hips, just letting go. Letting go, letting go. And then when you're ready, you can gently release, lift yourself back up. And I want you to bring the soles of the feet together for butterfly. You can always sit up on a cushion for this or a block. If this is not happening for you on the floor, don't worry. So soles of the feet pressing together. Press the soles of the feet together and imagine that the knees, you just want to send them out to the sides, straight out to the sides. Don't worry about pressing them down. If you send them out to the sides, they will naturally want to drop down anyway. Press the sitting bones into the ground so that you can lengthen the spine upwards. Have a nice lift to the heart and glide the shoulders down the back. So this is butterfly, and if you like, you can bounce the knees a little just to imitate the flapping of the butterfly wings. I find that feels really nice. My son Roman loves this one. We have a book that we read together sometimes. It's called Goodnight Yoga. And butterfly is one of the poses in it, and he really loves it. It's such a nice thing. If you mamas out there, I used to think that, my yoga practice was my time just to come back to sanity. But lately I'm sharing it with Roman, and I think that's just such a gift to introduce yoga and mindfulness, meditation at a young age. It's going to be so natural to them growing up. So there you go. It's my pearl of wisdom for today. And just stay here just for a few more breaths. If this feels okay, you can even come into stillness now. And then I want you to see if you can press the heart forward, drawing the heart in front of the feet. Maybe it's not in front of the feet, but just if you want to feel like it's yearning forward like that. And then you can just relax down, maybe even using your elbows to guide the legs down a little. And see if you can use your softness here and the breath just to get a little bit more opening into the hips, into the inner thighs, into the groin. Again, just to smooth out around the neck and shoulders, not forcing anything to happen. Just getting into this energy and space of allowing and surrender. Just a couple more breaths. And Just noticing how you feel now after we've been stretching together and breathing and doing this work of just releasing any tension into the hips. Has that done anything for your mood? Do you feel a little bit lighter, a little bit more open and receptive? I hope so. Ready to relax. If you're not in your pajamas already, if it's nighttime, you will be in good shape just to do some serious chilling out after this. Great, and then gently I want you to release. Last thing, we're going to take the legs out to the side, so a nice wide-legged straddle, and lift up, place the sitting bones down. You can even remove any fleshy parts from around your sitting bones. I know I have a lot of flesh around that area. And then sitting up nice and tall, flexing the feet. We're going to creep the fingertips forward again. Find the edge of that stretch, so you're going to feel it into the inner thighs here. And then when we relax down, and I find a nice thing to do here is turn the palms to face up, come down to your elbows if you like. If you've got something handy, how convenient, like I do here, maybe a pillow or some yoga blocks or something else, whatever works, folded up towels or blankets, and you can just come to soften the upper body down and just completely relax into the upper body, feeling a nice stretch into the hips, into the inner thighs, and just see how soft and open and receptive you can be here for these last breaths. Just completely letting go. Checking in just to see that you're not gripping, that you're just allowing that area of the hips to be really, really spacious, really, really soft. Unraveling any knots, smoothing out any tension. Just taking a couple more deep breaths. And just really the primary intention here is always to feel good. So just focus on that feeling of lightness, of softness, of openness, of receptivity. You can even bring your palms together and have a little moment in gratitude. Anything that comes to mind or to heart that you're really grateful for, just give it all your love and energy. Beautiful. And then gently, you can slowly come out of this. Remove my little cushion. Thank you. And bring the feet back in. Just find a nice comfortable seat. One final thing. Just bring the hands behind you with the thumbs pointing forward, the fingertips back, and just bring a nice little gentle lift to the heart. And this is literally uplifting yourself. Big breath. Open chest. Great. And just noticing how you feel in the hips. Maybe you do feel nice and spacious and like the knots have been combed out of that area. And if you do feel good, see if you can return to this practice often. Like I said, I love to do this just at the end of the day. Living room rug, maybe sometimes a candle or some nice relaxing music. It's just time to unwind. You can even do it with your favorite show on the TV if you want to chill out like that, just to get some stretching in at the same time is really nice. So thanks again for joining me. Just bring your hands to your heart, just bow your head to your hands. So much love. Namaste.